its origins hatched in Slavic folklore. The mythical Firebirds' journey westward has only enhanced its avant lore. Finding sanctuary amid sands both timeless and perpetual, the allure of the bird's plumage radiant, eyes hypnotic, talons just, and song enchanting prove a presence magical for those who respect its powers, and a harbinger dark for those who seek to tame its flight. In tales of yore, times bygone, the firebird protects its nest, the hue of its brilliant feathers, a guiding glow of belief, of renewal, of light, of home. A narrative rooted in myth, such powers, such imaginations are today realized with a tale of light and freeze. For the firebird and those who embrace its journey, it is a tale of seasons reborn, a fable actualized by the forge of steel blade and wooden implement, a legend which grows by roar and score. It is a story of fire and ice.
Greetings, friends and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Coming to you from Palm Desert, California, a mere Nike Coco, big boy blocker away from the Birds' home ice of Acrisure Arena. I'm your host, Judd Spicer, fourth season of Coachella Valley Firebirds hockey, fourth season in turn of Fire and Ice. And if you're just tuning in for the first time this season, by chance, friends, well, you're doing so at just the right time. Here, 11 games to go in the season, and the boys finding some serious smoke, finding some serious heat on the ice. Have the pleasure of discussing as much in this episode with a veteran presence in the American League, but a fresh face to the Coachella Valley, Cooper Marody, frontliner, going to be joining me here momentarily on this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast. Got to see Cooper, got to meet Cooper briefly after the recent press conference, Birds 5-2 win this past Wednesday over Calgary. But I held back my questions in lieu of saving all the good ones for this episode's visit. Look forward to this impending chat with Cooper Marody. In the interim, let's look at those that make this show go. Partner in crime this season, new partner in crime, the Desert Sun newspaper. They're not new. They've been informing our valley since 1927. Here yonder, 100 years. Get all your Firebirds coverage. Get all your local news, entertainment, sports, weather. It's all found at desertsun.com. Or heck, just go get yourself a physical newspaper. After the visit with Cooper Marody, by the way, Desert Shootout segment, epilogue style in this episode with Andrew John, reporter for the Desert Sun. And you know by now, we're almost at April, friends. You know how the Desert Shootout segment goes. Rapid fire, set them up, knock them down real fast. Look forward to this upcoming visit with Andrew John. Desert Willow Golf Resort, also right here in sunny Palm Desert, California, home to both the Mountain View and Firecliff courses, respectively. Get those tee times online today at desertwillow.com. When you're on the website, swinging around, poking around, chipping around, be sure to check out the awesome and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy for all your swing, instruction, tutelage needs. So many accolades with Desert Willow. It is in peak and prime shape right now, friends. I think among the accolades, I might have told you this, but it's worthy of repeat. Recently named by Golf Pass readers in the Golfer's Choice 2026 Awards, one of the top 50 in the country, and a 5-star rating from those ardent readers. You know I love a good putt-to-putt segue, dudes. Just a mile and a half away from the Birds Barn of Acrisure Arena. I love a good desert day. You tee it up over at DW, Mountain View, Firecliff. Maybe you get there super early and you play 36. Skated on down Cook, right over to Varner. Again, just a mile and a half away, taking the Birds game at night at Acrisure Arena. All right, dudes, that's going to slide us right into this episode's Firebirds Freeze Frame segment. And we got a great new sponsor for this segment this season, because ice action isn't limited to Acrisure Arena alone. Hockey fans, you want to seek out some pregame drinks, post-game toasts, you need only look up to the high desert where our Firebirds friends at both the 29 Palms Beer Company and the Ground Squirrel, that's GRNDSQRL, they're both serving up some awesome eats and incredible beers in downtown 29 Palms. Ground Squirrel, as I've told you, sports an awesome gastropub style scratch-made menu. I might suggest those pepperberry dry rub wings to get your evening started, get your meal started. And you match that with a rotating list of unique craft beers that they've got there right on site. Those seeking a potent power play, then you skate it right on down the street to the 29 Palms Beer Company. They're brewing up their own phenomenal beers right on site. And wait, listen, this is important. They are televising every Coachella Valley Firebirds game, whether it be home or away. Hey, you're a desert local, you're seeking a fun new scene, or you're one of the myriad desert guests that we're enjoying here in the peak season. You're up there exploring Joshua Tree, maybe kicking around like a cowboy in Pioneer Town. Hey, you might be celebrating a Birds win, drowning your sorrows after a tough loss. Either way, you lace up the hospitality in 29 Palms, where both the Ground Squirrel and the 29 Palms Beer Company, those are proving your high desert hockey homes. All right, dudes, on to this Firebirds freeze frame. Before, of course, we chat with newcomer Cooper Marody. And as mentioned at the outset, because I was excited by the press conference after this 5-2 win over Calgary. Wow, the Wranglers have really sunk low. Sorry, got to get that little dig in, but it's true. Nonetheless, while the Wranglers can't lasso much these days, our Birds are flying totally high. They came into this post-game presser, dare I say, with a little twinkle, little sparkle in their eye, and deservedly so. The fellas have won 3 straight, and moreover, they won 7 of the past 8. Across the past 10 games, the Birds are 8-2. That ties them for the best P10 with a couple other teams, Henderson among them, is the best record across the past 10 in the entire American Hockey League. That power play, which has been a little slumpy and a little funky, I think it was 13 straight games, dipped the boys metrically into a sub-16 percentage in the AHL, kind of sinking down to, I think, 25th place. That has showed some signs of life as well, in no small part to this episode's guest, by the way, I might add. That 35-21-5 record for the Birds, now 4th. If the season ended today, we would finish in 4th in the Pacific Division, which, of course, would give us a first-round home playoff series. Nonetheless, still 11 to go. Strength of schedule for those keeping score at home for that remaining 11. Strength of schedule for opponents, .575. I think the last show we did, they were like second toughest schedule remaining in the entire Western Conference. Now it's tied for 6th, so that is measured out a little bit. Per that upcoming schedule, Birds back at it this weekend at Acrisure Arena this Saturday, March 28th, versus the high-scoring San Jose Barracuda, currently in 3rd place in the Pacific Division. That is First Responders Night, puck drop at 6 p.m. Turn it right around, flip it to this Sunday, March 29th. San Jose stays in town for a 3 p.m. start on Sunday afternoon. If the Birds were to continue this hot streak and sweep, by the way, they could get within a point of that 3rd place standing held currently by the Barracuda. This Wednesday, or next Wednesday, I should say, April 1st, no fooling. Birds stay at home, face the Ontario Reign Squad, which we recently swept. That is next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. start time. Birds then hit to road to face defending champion, albeit lowly, Abbotsford. That is next Friday and Saturday, April 3rd and 4th, respectively. Both of those games will be 7 p.m. starts. Per those doing the skating on the ice, a few things about transactions, a few things about the world, and some of it is sobering, I might add. Yanni Newman is now back with the Birds. Going to talk a little bit more about Yanni here momentarily. While Oscar Fisker Molgaard, OFM, they call him in the business, he's been playing great of late, got a deserved call up to the Seattle Kraken. That was just yesterday, or at least earlier this week for those tuning in subsequently. Per Yanni Newman, he's been playing great as well. Again, a little bit more on Yanni's numbers here shortly. Some sad news to report. Ryan Winterton, a Firebirds favorite. He has played the entirety of this season, of course, with the Big Daddy Club up in Seattle. Tragic loss. Lost his bro this week at a mere 25 years old. RIP to Jacob Winterton, who played a couple of seasons at what I want to say was the OHL. Sincere respect if I got that wrong, but I think that is correct. He passed this week again at just 25 years old. Ryan, understandably, on a current leave of absence for these personal reasons away from Seattle. Per Seattle, might I add, haven't been playing as well as the Firebirds of late. And just something to keep track of, something we've learned about the American League, something to certainly keep tabs on. When the parent club doesn't do that well, not that we're rooting for anybody to fail, but yay, we are a little selfish here in yonder desert, here in the American League. They don't make the playoffs. That makes our team better. The aforementioned Ryan Winterton, along with Jacob Melanson, along with now Oscar Fisker Molgard, would all be eligible to come back for the American League playoffs. Can you imagine those studs coming back to a team that has suddenly won 7 of 8 and now has currently home ice advantage for the playoffs? More on the players. All right, keep skating on here. Logan Morrison continues impressively to lead the Firebirds in scoring this season, 56 points thus far, a team high 27 goals paired with 29 assists. That 56 total is good for 8th in the entire American League. Nipping at his skates, the Red Rocket Jagger Firkus with 55 points, 21 goals, and a team best 34 assists. He is currently 10th in the American League in scoring. Rookie Tyson Jugnoff, 39 points, 7 goals, matched with 32 assists. He is tied for 6th in the entire league among all defensemen. The aforenoted Oscar Molgard, I'm skipping the Fisker on that one, 32 points, 10 goals, and 22 assists. He has done that, by the way, has Oscar in a mere 46 games. Leighton Road, probably haven't talked about Leighton enough on the program this season. 31 points, 9 goals, paired with 22 assists. But Leighton has become one of those guys. I think he is a coach's favorite. Maybe he is the favorite. He is doing all the little things at an extremely high level. Playing hard, skating hard, loose pucks, boarding. Probably still the fastest player on this team. Having himself a great season. Doing it a little quietly because the stat sheet isn't necessarily blowing up. But keep an eye on the Whitefield Lake native, number 29, skating out there for CV. Again, having himself an excellent campaign. Ty Nelson also having a great year, 30 points from the blue line, 9 goals matched with 21 assists, and Yanni Newman, 29 points on the year thus far. He has done that in a mere 30 games. We welcome him back. We welcomed him back after he flew about 7.5 hours from Florida, probably the longest flight that you can have in the entire continental U.S. Flew 7.5 hours back, suited up for the Birds last night. In the win over Calgary, had himself a couple of goals, and goals, of course, nothing new to Yanni Newman. In just those 30 games I mentioned, he has scored 20 goals, including goals in his 13 of the last 18 in which he is suited up for CV. Per the netminders, Nike Coco, 16-9-2 on the year with 3.14 goals against, save percentage of .901. The Swede, Victor Osman, having himself a fine season, 15-12-3, 2.84 goals against, and a save percentage of .905, if I can read my own handwriting. Worthy of note that both of these guys really playing stellar of late. Each of our netminders have won 4 of their respective past 5 starts. All right, dude, that wraps it up for the Firebirds Freeze Frame segment. Again, thank you so much to our friends at both the 29 Palms Beer Company and the Ground Squirrel for sponsoring that Firebirds Freeze Frame. All right, all that offered, all that prefaced, let's get to this episode visit with newcomer to the Firebirds frontliner, Cooper Marody. All right, Firebirds friends, as prefaced, my guest on this episode, he's a 29-year-old native of Brighton, Michigan. After playing his college hockey for Big Blue, now in his 8th season of professional hockey. That includes 70 games in the National Hockey League and 349 more in the AHL, during which time he's accounting for 110 goals, over 300 points, and might I add, impressive plus-minus of plus 33. Back on March 12th, he was acquired from the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Played in 5 games for the Birds. We won 4 of them. and he has accrued 5 assists in his past 3. My pleasure to welcome not just to the desert, the Fire and Ice podcast frontliner, Cooper Marody. Hello, Cooper.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you for your time, man. And again, on behalf of myself and everybody at the Coachella Valley, very enthused to have you here. When you got traded, what's your first reaction?
Well, I got the call from the general manager in Lehigh Valley, and it was right before the deadline. So I assume he was calling me because of a trade, and I didn't quite know where until he told me, and I was very, very excited, honestly. What a tremendous city to be in, and what a great group of guys that I found out recently, and I couldn't be more excited to be here.
Your first question, if this wasn't offered up rather by your former boss, was it where am I being traded to, or for whom am I being traded?
I didn't talk about the for whom part, but when I called him right back, he was saying some nice things about enjoy the time being together, and he was talking for a little bit, and I was like, oh my gosh, where is it going to be? Where is it going to be? And there's kind of a little bit of anticipation on that phone call. And then when he said Coachella, I was so excited. And I knew my wife would be really excited as well. And it was a really cool, exciting experience. And like I said, I couldn't be more happy to be here now.
I mean, your AHL time, your career in the American League has been a modicum of consistency. You played 8 years and you played for 2 teams. I mean, that is not the typical American Hockey League resume. We've been fortunate here. We've had guys on our team for 3 or sometimes 4 years, but there are no shortage of players that, it's like trading cards, it's like bubblegum
Hmm.
cards. Like, oh, I played here for a year, then he kind of flipped over. Now they got a different sweater for 2 years. So for you, in any way, going to a different team, especially in March, were you a little sheepish or did you think it was strange? I mean, we have never had an AHL centric, an AHL straight trade on this team that has happened with so few games left in the season. So, is there anything that made you feel like, oh, I've basically been in 2 places, Bakersfield, which we'll get to, and Lehigh Valley, and now I'm getting traded? Does that make you feel strange in any way?
No, I think it was something I was really excited about, to be honest with you. It was something that, I was hoping for to get a great opportunity on a new team and a fresh start. And like you said, I've been fortunate enough to play with two great organizations and develop a lot of good chemistry and friendships along the way with Bakersfield and Lehigh Valley. But, I felt like it was time for a fresh start. And when Troy called me and said they're really excited to have me, I couldn't have been more excited. And um, the coaching staff has been phenomenal. All the guys have been phenomenal. And it feels like I've been here a lot longer than a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Of course, not everybody on the Firebird staff or roster is a stranger to Cooper Marody. The last 2 years you played with J.R. Avon, who was traded as well here to the Coachella Valley. Was that your first call, or was your first call after the GM to your wife?
Yeah, as soon as I hung up with Troy, the GM here, I called my wife, and she was very excited to hear where, because you never really quite know where in the country or if it's in Canada or where it's going to be. So she was just very excited to go to a nice California sun and a great city and a great team. Um, so yeah, I am familiar with JR. Also the skills coach Matt Larkey I worked with for several years in Michigan in the summer on skills and skating and plays with the puck and all those kind of skills. So there's a familiarity with that as well. So it's been a really smooth transition.
In your previous valley, I think we can call it, before you went from one valley to another, you and J.R. Avon, were you buddies? Did you play on lines together? Were you tight? Were you close?
We never really had an opportunity to play on a line together. But I was very familiar with JR. If you guys don't know it, on the podcast, he's a phenomenal golfer as well. So he's kind of a guy that you look and marvel over how good he is at golf. So it was funny when he first got traded here. earlier this season, I texted him and I was like, "You're gonna love playing out west, and it's gonna be great for your golf game because I know how much he loves playing." So um, it was very interesting that I thought about him going to Coachella, or obviously when he first got traded, and then I kind of said to myself, "Wow, that'd be an awesome place to play." And then, fast forward 6 months later, it's me going there. So I couldn't. Again, I keep reiterating that there's excitement, and it couldn't be more of the truth than that.
Have you ever been here before you got here a couple weeks ago?
Um, I briefly have driven through Palm Springs. I went to a wedding, I think 2 summers ago in California in the Los Angeles area. And my wife and I were like, oh, Palm Springs is a pretty cool place. Like we've spent pretty much when we were in Bakersfield, we drove all around California, but we've never quite went to Palm Springs. So we said, let's just, we have a day, let's just drive out and see it. And we're like, gosh, this place is awesome. So um, I missed it by a year when I was playing in Bakersfield. Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, when you were with the Condors, the Firebirds didn't yet exist.
Yep.
So I figured if you did make it here, it was either, like you said, drive through, wedding, vacation, or stop for a day, something like that. But it seems like it made a good impression on you and your better half in that one day. Um, the sense that we've got, we forget this sometimes, both because, we're still just in our fourth year of hockey, but all these little tidbits and nuggets that coaches or administrators have brought up that for obvious reasons, this is a very desirable place. And I don't want to rip on 31 other AHL cities. There are many, many great places across the American League, but some places that you probably don't want to hang out in February. I can tell you that. So just from like kind of word on the street, what you've heard from friends or playing competitors or colleagues, like this has become a place that players definitely want to suit up.
Oh, absolutely. I think the division in whole is a great place to be. There's so many amazing cities you go to on the road, but Coachella specifically, obviously I had a little bit of an idea of how nice the weather was and how nice of an area it was, but then you go and see the rink in person, and you just see how amazing the facilities are and how well we're treated with the food and all this, just all the extracurricular stuff and the gym. All the staff is amazing, and I kind of joke to some of the guys and my wife that the rookies don't know how good they have it. Being here, they think it's the standard for the American Hockey League, and um, it's not quite up to that standard. I found that this rink and how we're treated here is NHL level, which you can't say for every single AHL team. But it's funny because when I got traded, I was currently getting ready to play the next day in Syracuse, and it was snowing. When I ran from the restaurant to the hotel to get my stuff to head out here, it was snowing. So I was very excited that it wouldn't be snowing in Coachella and I'd have beautiful weather. So it was great.
When you come to a different team, a veteran presence like yourself, undoubtedly well versed on how to handle yourself, how to associate with a locker room and new players. But what do you come in with? Do you come in with some humble? Do you come in, pardon me, Cooper, keeping your head down a little bit, knowing that, yeah, there are veterans on this team that have been around for a while? Or do you come in like, I need to make my presence known on and off the ice immediately so they know me and my personality?
Yeah, I think I'm a more reserved type of guy. I'm not going to be, going to the locker room and yelling and firing guys up with that. But my philosophy is that although I'm a veteran, I want to prove that I can be a good player for the team and earn that respect with my teammates. And I think as I continue to do that with my play and just who I am as a person, I want to try to earn it every single day. And then I think as that continues to grow, I'll feel more like it's the right time to be more vocal. But at the same time, from day one, I tried to, you know, really create good friendships and bonds right away. And I found that the best teams that I've been a part of are the teams where the guys are the closest. And it made it easy because it's already a really close group here and a lot of really great guys that just welcome me in right away. But there is a lot of younger, really talented, great up and coming players here. So I think that any experience that I have that I can share with them and help them in any way, I think can be beneficial. There was a lot of great veteran players when I first came into the league. Um, Brad Malone is a guy I can think of. He's currently coaching in Wilkes-Barre, but he was an older guy that really taught me a lot of what it means to be a pro and come in each day ready to work and develop all the great habits. So it's a great honor to be an older guy and help the younger guys really step into the league and help them get to the National Hockey League.
Yeah, Brad Malone, certainly a familiar face to Acrisure Arena. Somebody we've seen suit up in years past with, I think, a couple different teams, if memory serves. Speaking of the Pacific Division, now you got a little bit of a taste of it again across the past 5 games. Aside from the obvious inclusion of Coachella Valley now in the Pacific, and it wasn't when you were in this division last, are you sensing that this division is different in any way than when you last played for the Condors?
Um, I wouldn't say a whole lot different. I think um, both sides in both conferences have great teams, and there's great players throughout the entirety of the AHL. I think the biggest difference comes from away from the rink, to be honest with you. The cities you're going to and the weather and whatnot it is definitely different. But there's good players coming in every year, and I think the league is great. And both sides, both conferences, like I alluded to, have great teams and great players. So I can't really say there's a huge difference in any way. But I guess the biggest difference is Coachella is a new team out here in the West, and I'm very excited that I'm on it.
Yeah. I mean, just, we kind of exist in a bit of a bubble. I mean, aside from, I think, two game series, the rest of our schedule this year, all against the Pacific Division. We played Hershey, obviously, in the finals twice. Last year, I think we had a series with Chicago. We had the All-Star game here last year. I think that expresses the entirety of our experience of even seeing a team from the East. Just vibe-wise between these two conferences, is there more of an old school sense with the arenas, the barns, I don't know, the attitudes in the East than playing in the West? Is it a distinct difference, Cooper?
I wouldn't say distinct difference. I think, you're in a little bit of a different mindset when you're going to, I won't mention any teams, but a really cold, older city where there's not a nice place to sit on the patio for dinner or something like that. There's a little bit of more grit to that, I would say for sure. And obviously being exposed to the sunlight and the vitamin D. And I think you're just naturally in a even more happier mood. So other than that, I wouldn't say there's anything too different, to be honest with you. But I will say that the sun has been phenomenal.
One thing that has not been phenomenal, pardon the segue, but we've seen rapid improvement. We had 13 consecutive games recently without a power play goal. When you were first acquired, yet before you had suited up, I think it was the day that you arrived here, you did not suit up, and then you guys went on the road. Asked Derek Laxdal pretty much on the spot in a post game if one of the reasons that you specifically were brought here was to play on that unit because it was obvious that we needed help. Like, look, we got a playoff team. We have all these good facets and aspects and all this talent, all these veterans. But this is a sore spot when you're getting under 16% on the man advantage. And come the playoffs, obviously, you're going to need some of those goals. Were you told when you were acquired, whether it be by Troy or by Coach Laxdal, maybe Coach Sani, because he runs the power play, like, look, we need your help and expertise. You've had a great career playing on the power play. Um, Expect to jump into this unit right away.
Yeah, there were some discussions with the coaching staff that when I was acquired beforehand, there was a little bit of struggling on the power play and um, really wanted me to be an impact um, and improve it. I've been fortunate enough to have been a part of a lot of good power plays in my career and have a lot of games with good experience and play with a lot of good players on the power play. So it's a aspect of the game that I really enjoy and I think I have a good skill set with. Um, and if you want to succeed in the playoffs, you're going to want to have a pretty good power play. So I think it's something that's really important for our team. And like you alluded to, there's a lot of great, amazing assets on this team and amazing things that we do well. And I think if we can really rein in the power play and continue to get it on the right track, we're going to be really dangerous. So it's something that I really take a lot of pride in and want to help in any way I can.
Was it something, maybe this is part of your process, perhaps it's not, but when you were informed of this, did you study any tape? Did you watch any game film to see what things perhaps were not working on that unit? Despite a lot of talented guys moving in and out of this power play, it just was not clicking. 13 games is that's a long time to not get a goal there. Did you watch any tape and you're like, yeah, this is where I see something where I can really help out?
There's nothing really specific. I think watching and just having the initial discussions with the coaching staff, but um, I know that there's certain things that I can do well and help the team with on the power play. So I'm just trying to be myself and also I think it's important to the coaches can say and give you a bunch of information, but at the end of the day, it's got to come from the unit and the players out on the ice. If it's running through things after practice, if it's bringing all the players together on the whiteboard and talking about, hey, this is going to be open, let's work on this. It's got to come from the players. And the best power plays that I've been a part of are when the coaches give us a basic structure and we make it our own. So that's kind of what I want to try to do here and help in any way I can and build that chemistry.
What you did last night, and this is more comment than question, Cooper, assisted on the first two goals. The second goal we saw when you broke Maiden. That was your Acrisure Arena debut last night. We hadn't had an opportunity to see you in person. What I saw in that second goal that you assisted to Ty Nelson, it was like, yeah, a lot of patience, a lot of poise with the puck on your stick, a beautiful pass, and it led to a beautiful shot. And we took the lead, if memory serves, with that goal last night. And it was like, yeah, we didn't just get somebody to get somebody at the deadline because we thought, okay, maybe this will kind of fit in and help us a little bit. It was like, yeah, we got a piece that we obviously needed to add a little bit more of that confidence, a little bit more of that veteran puck movement and control in the offensive zone. That's exactly what we saw last night, and it was very exciting, man.
No, I appreciate that. There's some really good players on this team, and like you alluded to, that was a phenomenal shot by Nelly there.
Absolutely. Friends, you are tuning in to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. My guest is newly acquired Firebirds frontliner Cooper Marody. Cooper, going to switch gears a bit and talk about you. And I guess before talking about you off the ice, I have to ask, because you mentioned it in the post game last night, you gave a smile and you referenced and showed gratitude and thanks to your better half. She drove. She is driven, I think you said, with your dog from one valley to another, which essentially across the entire country, maybe more than 3,000 miles, probably 3,500 or so, I would estimate. She's made it though, right? She's done the drive. The drive is over.
Yeah, she's made it safely, and I couldn't thank her enough. I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am today without her, and she's a trooper, that's for sure. To do that drive and by herself and get our house packed up and in Pennsylvania and get the little dogs over to here was quite the task. So she's embraced the hockey life very well, and I couldn't be more grateful for her.
Did she have to pack up everything by herself?
Not quite everything. We still have some stuff, but making sure certain kitchen things were brought and clothes and anything the dogs need and whatnot. It was no short task.
So we have dogs. We're talking plural.
Yeah, so their combined weight is probably 25 pounds, and there's three of them. So they're just little fluffs.
You did specify when you said that little dogs. You said
Yeah.
that last night after the win over in
Hmm.
Calgary. So all three of them together, 25 pounds. But that doesn't necessarily make it any less work. I mean, if you're traveling with three dogs, and if you're doing it in March, I don't know what the weather was like when she was doing this drive, but I trust maybe the first day you could run into some funky and clement conditions.
Yeah.
How did she map it out? Did she take like 4 days and have to walk these
Yeah,
dogs
it's
constantly?
it's definitely not an easy task, but so she first drove from Pennsylvania to Michigan and dropped off some of our stuff there at home. And then so it was a little bit of a detour. Then she drove Michigan to Nebraska. And then the next day stayed at a hotel. Then the next day she went to Nebraska. Unfortunately enough, we were in Colorado. So she drove to Colorado and then I joined her for the rest of the way. And it just worked out so perfectly to where we had a little break between last games so I could finish the drive with her. So that made it a lot easier for all parties. And it definitely took away a lot of worries of, you know, having her do the whole drive by herself.
As a dog owner and lover, I do need to ask. I mean, how often are you stopping when you got three dogs?
They're pretty good because they've done the cross country journey before when we were in California prior. So they actually were behaving pretty well, but I think it's a couple stops a day for sure.
Need to ask you about this. Some listeners will know, some will be informed for the first time. When Cooper Marody does not have a hockey stick in his hand, he is wont to have a guitar in his hand, or perhaps a microphone before his face, and he does so with impressive acumen. Those again not aware, very very talented musician. I went and listened to some of your songs I could find online. Was reading about this even in Old Michigan articles that you've been playing the guitar at a very high level, singing, songwriting. You've been doing all this for maybe a dozen years, Cooper.
Yeah, about I'd say a little over 10 years I started playing guitar and singing and it's something I just enjoy to do. I enjoy doing in free time. And fortunately for me, I've been able to speed up my learning curve because I have very talented friends in Nashville um, that are way more talented at me than me in guitar playing and songwriting and all that. So they've definitely helped with that learning curve. Um, Interestingly enough, one of my friends actually got one of his songs done by Luke Combs that he wrote recently. So that was
Well,
pretty cool to see that. But yeah, it's something that I enjoy doing and haven't really been super um, on task with it in the last few years. Have other things in life that have taken my time and but it's something that is really fun to do in the summer, especially when you're just sitting outside or sitting by the fire in Michigan. It's something that I enjoy for sure.
we'd say the kind of the pop country, the new millennium style of country music. That's the genre that you prefer.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's one that I enjoy and can be fairly easily done with just acoustic guitar because all of them are pretty much acoustic guitars. So
You
yeah,
play piano as well.
a little bit, not too good, but I have some ability with it.
You reference that not playing quite as much in recent years. That leads me to ask if in season, um, are you practicing? Are you songwriting? Do you perhaps bring the guitar with you on the road ever?
Um, I don't typically bring it on the road. It's mostly a summer thing, I'd say. I'm really, I like to be hockey focused during the season, especially, and we're so busy with travel and the ins and outs of the season that I find it to be more of a summer thing for sure. Yeah, so I don't have it with me in Coachella, so don't ask me to pull it out right now and give you a little
I
song.
was, I was not going to put you. There was a part of me that was tempted to put you on the spot, but I didn't want to put you on the spot. But in reading these old Michigan articles, I mean, you play for your teammates. I don't know, is that something that you've done in your AHL stops? You ever perform in those cities or for your teams?
Nothing really crazy, but there's some small parties or get-togethers that we've had as a team that they'd encourage me to do a little something. So a little bit, but it was something I really spent a lot of time with in college, to be honest with you. Um, it really filled a void in time, and it was something that, between classes and playing that I don't know, I just really enjoyed doing and I had some really good buddies close by that were really talented, so I learned a lot from them then.
Are there parallels for you, Cooper, between playing hockey and making music?
Hmm, that's a great question. Um, I I don't know. I think when I was first learning guitar, it was very frustrating, to be honest, and it took a lot of failure and determination to continue with it. And, similarly with hockey, when you first start, and even to this day, there's a lot of ups and downs and adversity with it. So I think anything worth doing in life, it's not going to be easy. And it's something you have to, if you want to have success in, you have to continuously work at it. So I think if there's any parallels, it would be that.
Friends, if you want to hear at least one song of Cooper Marody, and I'm telling you, I've been doing this show for 4 years. It's not uncommon to ask players or coaches what their hobbies might be. But when I listen to you sing or I watch some videos of other pieces being done on you about your singing, I mean, you're legit. You have a great singing voice. Some of
I
your
appreciate that.
lyrics, no, I'm not just throwing you flowers. I was genuinely impressed. I mean, voice is really good. The lyrics are very impressive. I don't want to go too deep in the weeds, but on why you wrote the song Agape, it was a dedication. We've already had one reference to something terribly sad happening on this show, so I don't want to do it necessarily a second time. But that song will pop up, Agape, and you type in Cooper Marody, do it on like YouTube machine or something like that. And I have no doubt that you two friends are going to be impressed. Is this something that I can kind of sense? Like, yeah, you're focused. It's in the season. We're in the home stretch. You're playing really, really good, if not great hockey. You have for a long time, but at some point in your life, like, yeah, I might come back to this and I might do it in earnest and see where I can go with a music career.
You know, I don't really think it's something that I would pursue professionally as a career, to be honest with you. Like you alluded to with the Agape song, I can touch on it briefly. It was written um, per request in discussions with one of my teammates who passed away, his wife. She knew I was into music, and she kind of wanted a song that would give her a little peace and kind of encapsulate their relationship and their love. So it was a tremendous honor to be able to work on that. And it's a really cool story and a cool song. Obviously, I'm biased because I was involved with it, but it was a tremendous honor to be asked to do something like that. And I took it to a couple of my friends in Nashville, and we worked on it together, and we were able to get it done pretty quickly, surprisingly. And it's something that was a tremendous honor for me because it helped give her and her family peace in dealing with the tragedy. And in the song, part of it, you hear his voice, and he's reading his wedding vows to her. So it's something that was an extremely emotional project and something that was an honor to be a part of.
Yeah, and you can see that through the lyrics, that friendship, that familiarity rather, that association, that care, that concern, that connection to, sad to say, his widow, and what you wanted to do and what you achieved doing for her friends. Again, I encourage you to look this up. I was choked up once the wedding vow portion when you watch the video element and his voice comes in. It is tough to watch, but it is a beautifully written and performed song. Uh, Cooper, I'm gonna leave it at that for today, man. I know you guys got a rare day off from the ice. I want to let you enjoy the rest of your desert day as you and your wife and your three dogs hopefully go explore a little bit more of the Coachella Valley away from Acrisure Arena before it gets to triple digits. And fear not, it's not supposed to be this hot for like another 3 months, man. So it'll cool down again. I know it can get used to take a little while to get used to that kind of sizzle, but it's going to get idyllic here again in short time. Till then, man, hey, great to have you in the desert. So appreciative of your time, Cooper. And yeah, this was a great get at the trade deadline. It's going to be a great asset as the Birds finish these last 11. Thank you again for your time, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I appreciate all the nice words, and looking forward to getting to know you more.
All right, Firebirds friends, wrapping up this episode as we are wont to do, epilogue style. Desert Shootout segment, 5 rapid fire questions with one of our Desert Sun experts. In this instance, gentlemen, I had the opportunity to sit and watch the win over Calgary with last night. It's been a minute. He was active covering other sports here in this spring season. We welcome back to Acrisure Arena last night. Now back to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast. Hello, Andrew John.
Hey, Judd. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you back, my friend. We duel with pens in lieu of pistols. The Desert Shootout begins as wont to do with question number 1 of 5. What or perhaps whom have you most been impressed by of late, Andrew?
Yeah, I wrote about this a little bit last night after the game. I was impressed with the way this team is able to continue scoring this late into the season, as defenses tend to tight up this time of the year. And they won 7 of 8 Firebirds, but 6 of 8 they've scored at least 4 goals in those wins. So it's we talked a little bit about the last couple months how the defense was getting better and making strides, but really impressed with how the offense is still operating this late in the season.
Yeah, great point, man, and great stat. Thank you for digging that up. Moving fast, that's how we do it. The Desert Shootout. Memorable moment of late. Birds, of course, were on the road for a bit, so it could be something while they were away. Perhaps something you saw in victory over Calgary on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a combination of we saw Yanni Newman get sent back to the Kraken, and then he really didn't do much anything memorable with the Kraken. Didn't really get much playing time, unfortunately. Didn't really get a chance to get on the ice. But I thought it was memorable. Something that will probably stick with me for a little while is the fact that he suited up last night after flying across the country, 7 hours from Florida, and then scored 2 goals. And I think it would have been so easy for a guy to just say, man, I've been traveling all day. I'm going to sit this one out, play the 2 weekend games. But now he's suited up, and I thought, that said a lot. It was definitely, we've known that about Yanni for a long time. He's not a guy who typically goes through the motions, I don't think. I think he works hard. I thought that was a good indication that he's motivated and wants to play, wants to help his team win.
Yeah, in that post-game presser, you could see a little of the fatigue, a little of the wear and tear, but couldn't see it during his time on the ice back in the bird sweater last night. 2 goals for Yanni in his return after Andrew mentioned, brief time again in Seattle. Something that you heard in the post-game presser perhaps last night. Best quote of late, Andrew John.
Yeah, I thought that this was humorous, but when it was Edward Chalet referring to Cooper Marody, his new teammate, as an old guy, and it made me feel ancient if a 29-year-old American Hockey League player is an old guy. But I think it speaks to just how young this group is. That a guy who's 29 is one of the older guys, and certainly a veteran. And reminds me that this group, it really is so young and probably just still scratching the surface on what they're capable of as a group.
Yeah, maybe it translates a little different in Czech. I don't know. Maybe old is like, it's a sign of respect or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when you're 20 or whatever Edward Chalet is, I think he's 20. Yeah, I guess if you're almost 30, then you are an old guy.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. So definitely no criticism of him for that. I just thought it was a uniquely honest moment from him. Someone who doesn't say a whole lot, but he let that one out, and I thought that was funny.
Question 4 or 5 for Andrew John here in the Desert Shootout segment. Yeah, the Birds, as you referenced, flying high of late, 7 of 8. What's your biggest concern, though, right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the probably the biggest concern for this group still is just a touch of inconsistency, which we're seeing with a young group. Now, this last little stretch, they've been remarkably consistent, but there have been a couple games this month where, they have allowed 5 goals. That's obviously something you cannot do really this time of year. And if that happens once in a while, I think that's probably fine. So it's really not too alarming, that they've allowed a couple big scoring outputs from the opposing team. But I would think that that's something to keep an eye on. So definitely something that I would watch for, and slightly concerning. for a group, when you get in the playoffs, these games are going to be really tight, 1-goal games usually, and goals are going to be harder to come by. So you got to really tighten that up on the defense.
Yeah, and of course, one of those 5-goal games against the San Jose Barracuda, which we'll welcome back to Acrisure Arena for a double dip this weekend. They only lost in the 8-game streak, and that was the 10:30 in the morning game. So to me, that one's there's a little asterisk next to that one when you're playing at 10:30 in the morning on the road. It counts, but in a way, maybe not indicative of how we've been playing of late.
That's a fair point, yeah.
Question 5 of 5, and I'm thinking that maybe after this segment for future episodes, you need to flip this question upside down, because throughout the course of the season, I have asked you and Chad Powers, what's cracking? Asking you who the next player will be called up into the NHL. Maybe now we could start, or we could wait till the next time for the next player that we might see brought back down to the Coachella Valley. Is it time to do that, Andrew? Or are we still what's cracking? Are there more guys to be brought up?
Yeah, I don't know if there is at this point, because it's, especially with the Kraken, if they're, depending on how their season shakes out, they might not be playing for a whole lot longer. But to answer your question on who might be, if they are calling a guy up, I think with Yanni being up there with the Kraken. Oscar Molgaard currently there. Jacob Monson's still there. I think, if they are going to look to bring a guy, I would like to see Logan Morrison get a shot, with his 27th goal of the season last night. Really impressive. Guys typically who score a lot for the Firebirds haven't always gotten that opportunity. We saw Max McCormick led the team in goals. Cole Lind one year. So, I mean, that's not a given, but I've seen a lot of development from Logan this season. And while he doesn't probably have the upside of Oscar Molgaard or Yanni Newman, I think, he's a guy who is playing with a lot of confidence right now and could definitely contribute in some way to the Kraken. But I think if we're talking about guys who might be sent back, I think Oscar might be the guy, since it's kind of like last one in, first one out type of thing,
Yeah. And you bring up a good point, and one that I didn't really flesh out. I mean, I did reference earlier in this program that, if the Kraken were not to make the playoffs, and as you and I discussed last night, we could be talking potentially Melanson, Winterton, Molgaard, all back here for our playoffs. But now it's making me think that, if Seattle, if they got 2 or 3 games that are ultimately meaningless, then Logan Morrison, maybe Jagger Furcus could be in that conversation.
Yeah.
A couple other guys undoubtedly worthy of getting, if nothing else, just a cup of coffee before that season's over, because they're having such great years here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for, if you want to develop guys, I think it's good to get them some of that exposure. And if you're talking about meaningless games, I mean, what better time to do that if, you can bring a guy up for a few games, get that exposure and help with their development,
Andrew John, always a pleasure. It's rapid fire because we set them up and knock them down in the shootout. The time today was short, but I hope and trust I will see you back at the Birds Barn this weekend, where we will have hours and hours to share all of this expertise.
All right. Thanks, Judd.
Appreciate it. All right, Firebirds flock. It's going to wrap it up for another episode of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. So thankful for all your time, your interest, your ears, your continued and ongoing support of this endeavor. Additional gratitude goes to this episode's guests. Birds newcomer Cooper Marody, great to visit with Cooper on this program, and undoubtedly a valuable and key addition to this Firebirds team as we trend toward the end of the regular season. Andrew John, always enjoy setting him up, knocking him down with Andrew, and sitting next to him in our little peanut gallery, of course, at Acrisure Arena. Great to have Andrew back for the Desert Shootout segment. The Desert Sun, of course, check out all their coverage of the Firebirds and everything local at desertsun.com. So proud to partner with them, and I'll look to which I contributed to for, over a dozen years. Again, get all your local news and Firebirds coverage online over at desertsun.com. Desert Willow Golf Resort, right here in sunny Palm Desert, California. Make those tee times today for either or both the Mountain View Firecliff courses. It's done online at desertwillow.com. Truly one of the finest public golf facilities west of the Ole Miss, friends. When you're on there poking around at desertwillow.com, be sure to check out the awesome and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. By the way, those looking to shave a few strokes off your game, looking to sharpen up a little bit. Hey, we could all use a little help. We could all get a little bit better. They're going to help you do it at the on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy over at Desert Willow Golf Resort. And of course, our friends Yonder High Desert at both the Ground Squirrel and the 29 Palms Beer Company, where again, they are televising every Firebirds game, home or away. Go check it out next time you head to the High Desert, and feel free to tell them that Uncle Jetty sent you. All right, dudes, we'll see you this weekend as Birds stay at home, stay on the home sheet of the Acrisure Arena. Again, this Saturday and Sunday, double dip, home versus a very good San Jose Barracuda, high-scoring Barracuda team. Birds with the chance to get within one mere standing point of San Jose if they were to continue this hot streak and sweep the Barracuda. Again, thank you everybody so much for tuning in. Amply appreciated. We will see you over at Acrisure Saturday night. Until then, and always, be well.